Hi everyone, I'm Liz Sheehan. I'm a council member for the 5th District for LFUCG, and I have with me Polly Ruddick. She is with the Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention. Polly, do you want to talk just briefly what your office is tasked with overall?
Sure. So the Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention is kind of the backbone agency for what is called the Continuum of Care. And the Continuum of Care is made up of over 50 partner organizations, nonprofit, private, hospitals, institutions here in Fayette County. And we're tasked with our efforts to end and reduce homelessness.
And a big part of that program that we have coming up is the Lex Count. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so every year, with the exception of the pandemic year of 2021, on the last, and we've had to move it, but typically it's the last Wednesday night in January of every year. And like I said, because of the pandemic, we had to move it this year. So we're actually doing it the last Wednesday of February 2022, and it's one night, and we do a full, what is called count, where we legitimately go out and count every single person that is experiencing literal homelessness. And that means they're living in a place not meant for human habitation, one of our emergency shelters, or transitional housing programs. And we take, I think in 2020 we had about 175 volunteers go out and comb the streets and forests and tree lines and private property and everywhere we can think of here in Fayette County. And we look and find folks that are experiencing literal homelessness, and then we work with our emergency shelters and transitional housing programs to count folks that have actually sought shelter that night. The reason we do it on one night all at the same time, I get this question a lot, is because we can't duplicate how many people are experiencing homelessness. And so we try to do it after the shelters kind of closed and have kind of, got everybody in for the night. And we do it at night because we can verify where folks are actually sleeping that night.
And I participated in this as someone who went out into the community to count in 2020. And it seems like, particularly at night, because people are finding a place to rest for the evening, there's less chance of double counting people, right?
Not only, double counting, but accidentally counting someone who's actually not experiencing homelessness, the assumption, someone who, we have to make sure we kind of do it after the shelters kind of have, like I said, have kind of closed their doors for the night and everybody's kind of already in, because the last thing we want to do is count somebody as unsheltered and then they also get counted in a shelter. So we try to time it at this so we don't duplicate folks and misrepresent numbers.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about what these numbers are used for?
So really the main thing we use them for is to kind of gauge our progress on how we're doing. So they're not annual numbers, and so I'll kind of answer that because I get that question a lot. Why wouldn't we do annual numbers? And we do. We analyze annual numbers all year round. This kind of gives us year over year over year, the same time period, the same methodology. It really kind of gauges on any given night here in Fayette County what those experiencing homelessness look like. What does our population actually look like? And what we take from that is our progress and how we're doing on shrinking those numbers on any given night. We also use it to make sure that we're aligning our funding and programming with the people who actually need it. So we see changes in trends within that population. For example, our fastest growing population is aging. Our over 55 is rapidly increasing, and our over 65 has actually grown about 5% in the last couple of years. So we take that and maybe adapt what we're doing to really kind of match what's actually happening in the population.
And I love this perspective from a research, because my background is in research. So thinking about collecting data at the same time of year, at the same time of day, and having these consistent metrics over time, I think is really an important piece of all of this in looking at our progress and evaluating our performance as a government and tackling this issue. Now let's turn a little bit to the more practical side. what do people need to know if they want to sign up? I know for me, when I participated before, like one of the things is you really need to come bundled for cold weather.
Yes.
Because you will be outside on a cold night. But what are some of the other things people need to know, particularly for this year when some of the structure has changed due to the pandemic restrictions?
So we do have some COVID protocols that we have in place, but if anybody wants to volunteer, so like I said, our unsheltered count is really run and operated by volunteers. We cannot do this without the community's help. So if you want to volunteer to actually go out onto the street and talk to people and engage people, give out care packages, really kind of experience that atmosphere, you can go to our lexandhomelessness.com website, and under solutions, the heading solutions, you will find all the information about LexCount 2022, including a volunteer sign up. The one thing that's different, and we had talked about this earlier, we are asking folks to sign up in teams, to pod themselves with people that they know and maybe have worked with or kind of know their background. Usually every other year we structure the teams as a continuum of care. We kind of lay out the teams and put people that may not know each other into the team. It's kind of a bonding moment and you get to know each other and network. We can't do that this year. However, if you don't have a team and still want to volunteer, go ahead and still sign up. Put NA under the team members, and we are going to work with partners to find other ways to assist, and that's prepping care packages or getting thank you notes ready or helping my office with doing the packets. Each team gets a really big packet they get maps and they get locations and the surveys and on-call numbers and processes, and it takes a while to put those together. So if you want to help with that, go ahead and sign up. We're going to work this week to find out how many teams we have and put individuals maybe helping us with both pre-work and post. There's a lot of stuff that happens on the back end too. So go ahead and sign up.
Yes, it does take a team effort, so we need everybody to sign up, and like Polly said, you might help on that night, or there might be some tasks to prepare that we could put you in with. Are there any other last thoughts that you can think of that you want people to know about?
No, this is one of the best things that we do every year, at least I think it is. It's a fun event. We make it fun. It's really good to go out and engage every single person that is experiencing homelessness. Make sure that they know that they are seen and they are heard and we are listening, and it's a good time to engage those folks. Maybe they've fallen through the cracks and we can engage them on that night and connect them to shelter, connect them to housing assessments, to food, to clothing. So it's a good time as a community to spend some time. I wish we could do it the way we used to pre-pandemic, but it is a good time to go out, and it is late at night. You said bundle up. If you do want to volunteer, we don't start the count until 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah. So maybe also take a nap.
Yeah. Take a nap, eat some dinner, and then we try to have everybody back home before midnight. Sometimes that doesn't always work out, but we do, depending on where you have to go, try to get you home within 2 hours. But it is usually pretty cold, and yes, it is.
And overnight.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This is a really important project and program, but thank you for all of the work that you do through the Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention, and thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.